Hello, I'm Robert. Welcome back to our art lessons. This one again will be, as last week's, will be a Bob Ross painting inspired by Bob Ross. We'll take a few liberties with it, but it'll be basically a Bob Ross painting. I hope you're going to enjoy this one. It's kind of a fun one. Anybody that has browns and sepias and neutral colors in their home, this is a great painting for you. So let me put my little guy down here, and I will take Bob and put him behind our magic curtain so he can watch over us. And let me show you the colors that we have for this painting. It's a limited palette, so meaning we don't have that many colors on it, so it's a great economical painting for you to do. Again, as I said, somebody that has neutral colors in their home, this is a great one for them. Um, this could also be made with any transparent color, such as you know blue, phthalo blue, maybe some mauves, any any transparent color. Today we're using mostly browns on this. So I've got my titanium white, I've got dark sienna, I've got Van Dyke, a little bit of black here. Down here I have the cad yellow, Indian yellow, and yellow ochre, and just a touch of red, said titanium white. Now, what have I done to the canvas already? We always have to have our canvas nice and slick, and usually we put down either um, liquid white or liquid clear. Today we did something a little bit different. We came down with our Indian yellow here, and I used my liquid clear, and I put just a touch of the Indian yellow in the liquid clear, so it would make it a yellowy back surface. So this is Indian yellow mixed with liquid clear all on the background. Now you do not want to get this heavy. It has to be just a thin light coat of color. If you do, then your painting is going to start falling down and it's going to be a mess. So remember, just a little bit of your um, liquid clear mixed with Indian yellow, and you don't want it on strong. You want to really just kind of, you know, rub it in, get it rubbed into your canvas, and just so the fibers have been caressed. And again, it's all over the canvas. Now, I wanted to tell you one other thing on here. If I put on my paintings, I put on a masking tape around the edges so I get a border when I'm done. You don't have to do that, but I like to do that. I like to see it framed, the white border when I'm done, but that is not necessary. But if you want that, that's fine. So our first step, as I mentioned, is we're going to get some cloud pattern in here. So I'm going to take, and I don't want tons of paint in here. I'm going to tap into my sienna, and this is my Van Dyke. So I'm just getting tap, 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 pull it out, tap, tap, tap. I want to, by tapping, I get a nice even distribution on the ends of the brush. So I tap, pull out, tap again, push up, just so I have some color in here. So we're just going to make some broad suggestions of clouds in here. We'll come back and smooth this out in a minute, but this is how we're going to start this painting. So we just get a nice cloud pattern going in here. We're just going to make some clouds. I want it darker at the top. And lighter as I go toward the surface. Or toward the horizon, I should say. The nice cloud formation. Another one over here. See something coming out. Coming up and down here. Okay. So we're just getting some suggestions of clouds. The sky. So I've got kind of a nice cloud formation. Now I'm going to take the brush. I'm going to clean this up a little bit. We clean our brushes with odorless paint thinner. I have a little bucket down here on my side with a screen on it. So I dip it in there, and then I have a brush beater rack that I use to just wisp it out. So clean the ends with paint thinner and just beat my brush. So now I have a nice clean dry brush. You could probably do that with liquid white. Well, you can do that with liquid white. Dip it in your odorless paint thinner and do it with a paper towel. You could do that if you don't have the brush beater rack. So now I'll just lightly touch up, blend out. My cloud patterns. Take a little bit of paper towel and clean the brush up. I'm just kind of blending those together. As I said, I want it a little bit darker towards the ends and toward the top, lighter as I come down. And I'll get some wispy ones going across. And you could blend and bleed these out to virtually nothing you wished. Okay. That's just a nice wispy cloud pattern. Take a little bit more dark up here. Just want a little bit darker at the end so it pulls your eye into this center. Okay. Tightly across, just to smooth. Okay. Bring my brush up a little bit. Now I'm going to come back again with my Van Dyke Raw Sienna. I'm just tapping in here again. Just tapping into that. And I'm just going to tap in down here. Almost the same color as the clouds. I'm just going to get a little, this is going to be a foothill down here. I'm just going to keep tapping. Just to make the indication of a foothill. We get a little more dark. Just so you can see. And again, it's almost the same value as my sky. Okay. Then I'm going to come my fan brush. I'm going to catch some more of that dark sienna, Van Dyke. Just going to come across the bottom. Just to get another value. So I'm kind of bending these up as I touch. I'm bending the bristles up a little bit. So I have a nice plane here. So now I'm going to come in here with my fan brush once again. And I'm just going to add a couple little trees and bushes back here. Maybe I'm going to add a little evergreen tree in the distance. And one over here. So I take this brush, pull it out, load it with a lot of paint, and I just get a guiding line. I touch it, and then I zigzag across. Maybe there's one over here. One up here. You put as many of these as you want. And again, either what they call Z strokes, I call them zigzag strokes across. One up in here. One here. And we'll get a couple more on this side. We can use the side and just kind of make some scrubby little bushes in here too. So I'm just using the corner of that brush and just adding a few more. Just bushes. Okay. Clean the brush. Fan brush is a little bit easier to clean than our 1-inch. So I'm going to come with my 1-inch brush, clean it one more time. You could use a 2-inch brush on this if you wished. So we're going to have some water down here, so I'm just going to have some reflections. So I'm just going to pull straight down. I'm just hitting the bottom. Now, if you're not getting enough, you can touch it with, go back into your paints and just add a little bit to the end of that. But I want it straight. And it's a rather firm pull. Okay. Take and clean the brush up a little bit and just pull across lightly. And this will give us some instant reflections. So now I'm going to, I think in this one we have a cabin in here. So I'm going to come over. This is a small, distant cabin in the woods, kind of one that you'd like to have. So I'm just going to come back here with, I got my titanium white. I'm just going to cut across so I have that little row of paint on here. So you decide where your cabin is going to be. And if you can see this point of this palette knife, that's kind of like the point of your roof. So it's got the angle. So if you just come back here, wherever you're going to put this cabin, and just pull down Come across here. A little bit more. A couple edges over here. I'll clean the brush out or the knife out. And then I'll take a little roll of paint at the very end of here and just we'll just build some sides here. Over here, another little side on here. Touch our roof up a little bit. I'll mix just a tiny bit of white with my sienna, raw sienna. Just to get a little bit of marble effect. So I'll take that and kind of just indicate some slats in here. I'll get a tiny roll of paint at the end and we'll give him a little door. So we scrub in a little door. And then we can do, they call it cabinectomy. And just scrape that a little bit. So we have our little bit of, we have our little cabin in the woods. Then I'm going to come across with some whites. I'm going to fill my fan brush and I'm just going to, we'll come over here and we'll drag some snow over here. Come back on this side. Maybe a little bit in here. Center. There'll be some nice snow banks. They might almost go into each other. This pure titanium white. And this is what they call the lay of the land. We'll come down here a little bit further, drag a little bit more. Then we'll add just a little bit of, I've got a little bit of Van Dyke here. Put a little bit of foliage going up there. Lifting up with the fan brush to suggest a few little things going on here. Okay. I'm going to clean this brush a little bit. And this is, as I said, this is our fan brush, and it's a little bit easier to clean. I just dip it in to the odorless paint thinner. Now, I'm going to take your 1-inch brush again, and I'm going to take my darks, and we're going to put a little bit more foliage in here. So I'm dragging this out, take a little bit of the browns, put that in there, basically darks, Van Dyke. But look how much paint I have in here. I have a ton of paint in here. And I'm pulling it, and then I'm going to use the round part, the little rounded edge, the heel of that, to just tap in some nice leaves and trees. Right across our snow. Come right down. I'm just kind of pushing and lifting out. I don't want to smudge it. This is just nice darks. Okay, we'll go, as Bob would say, we come back with, again, look, I'm pulling lots of paint into that brush, tons of paint. You got a little sienna, dark Van Dyke, black. We'll go on this side, and we're just going to touch and pull out with the heel. Lots of paint in that brush. Again, pulling straight down and turning it over for the heel. I give it just a little push up without smudging. It's not a brush stroke like this. Just push and out. I'll come down here. Now Bob might say you could do this with a shoe, but this 1-inch brush I think works a little bit better for us. So we're going to highlight that in a minute, but we just have our nice darks down here. I'm going to clean my brush. And then I'm going to pull straight down to get little reflections down here. Back on this side. Just pull across. So we have a nice water line. So I'm going to come back with my fan brush. I'm going to fill it with my darks, either black or brown. I'm going to come up into here, into the left side, and then we'll come back into the right side too, and we'll just add a little bit of another one here, a little bit of an evergreen tree. Come on this side. I just touch with the end of that brush and then zigzag it across, and then come right down into that dark. Another one maybe up here. And we'll give him a little friend right over here. Maybe we have a crooked one over here. Another one right here. So I'm going to clean this brush again. This is the fan brush. Okay, take take our fan brush and clean it out. I'm cleaning this out. Then I'm going to come in here with a little bit of my ochre. Tap it into the ends. And I'm just going to give a little bit of a highlight to the top of those trees. I don't want to overdo, I just want a few spots. If your paint is not sticking, just add a little bit of the liquid or your odorless paint thinner, that's fine. Just add that and that'll thin it down. And we don't want this side left out, so we'll come back here with a couple highlights here. This is a little bit of cad red or cad yellow. A little bit more down here. And come on this side and get a few. Just a few suggestions. Okay. Now I'm going to take my palette knife and I'm just going to come up here and scrape in a few trunks. Don't want to overdo. Come on the left side. Out. Few in the base. Okay, got that in. So we got our snow in here. We have our background. We might as well come over here and think about pushing everything back a little bit. So I come in here with my fan brush. I get a dark. And we'll just take this one and just drag a nice fat tree there. We'll come on this side. A little more pressure as I get to the lower part. Take another one. Maybe you've got a little one that goes like this too. Goes right off. So then we come back with our palette knife. I'm going to take a little bit of ochre, titanium white, cut across, and I'm just going to touch the sides of these. I'm going to give them a little bit of a pull. Cut across, a little bit of paint at the end. And just highlight the ends. Give this one a little bit. Come on the right side. Touch. Just touch and pull. Okay. Hit this one. Take a little more brown. Now we'll take the palette knife and we'll come with our liner brush and we're going to make a very loose, inky type mixture, and we'll just flick in some nice loose branches. Try to use the end. You know, this liner brush holds a lot of paint, but we want it really inky, real thin. And you do as many of these as you wish. We're kind of nice and shaky and loose. And a few more down here. Okay. Okay, we have that in there. Clean the brush up a little bit. And we'll come in with a we'll take some, I've got some liquid white on here. We'll come into our regular light white, maybe just a touch of that Indian yellow in there. And then I just want to tap in a little bit of snow at the end of here. So I've got the liquid white, which is a lighter, more liquid white than your titanium. And I'm just going to touch. It's suggesting a few little. This suggests a few little snow leaves on the branches. Tapped in a little bit of that Indian yellow. But again, I start out with this nice thick, well, it's really thin, but it's liquid white, not the titanium white, the liquid white, because then it becomes thinner and it'll stick. And I just tap in a little bit of snow leaf patterns in here. I can put a little bit down in here. Put a little bit of that pattern. This will make our bushes come out a little bit more. Just tapping into that color. Tap it down into here and make a little bit of a reflections. With a clean brush, just pull lightly across. Ground this around the trees a little bit more. And hit those reflections. Clean the brush. Across. Lightly go across. I'm going to come back with some titanium white and just put a little water line here. come with our liner brush, and I'm just going to hit the very ends of these snowbanks a little bit. And just blend them back. Lightly across. A few sticks coming up this way. Then I'm going to come back with my darks and just add a few marks down here. That'll just give us a nice weed line. So again, I just take my 1-inch brush, I pull it. I've got the little round edge at the end. I just push. Push and pull up. Push up and pull back. Take my liner brush and just flick up a couple little things. And this works well with your palette knife. You can just lift up a few things too. Make a couple little ends on here. Just to suggest a few little stragglers, plants. Clean the brush, liner brush. Dip it into my liquid white. And just add a few little touches. Okay. So we can look at this a little bit. We can see if we need a few more branches. And I'm just using the edge of my palette knife. We're down here. Couple of dead sticks in the winter. Okay. Well, let me take the tape off here so what we have on the with our framed edges. So we have our little cabin. In the woods. Move this a little bit. Snowy day in the woods. Let me just tap in a few more highlights over here. A few more branches. A few more leaves. And I think we'll leave it at that. At least I'll leave it at that on this recording. I may touch up a couple things after, but I think that's what we'll finish up today. I want to thank you for joining us for this one. I'll put this is on our YouTube channel. We have lots more on there. We have our last week we did some lovebirds on there in watercolor. So we'll have some more watercolors coming up very soon. But I hope you try this one. Remember the supplies. You can get the supplies through bobross.com. You can get his supplies. You can get a canvas maybe at the Hobby Lobby store. But easiest way and the most economical way for you to get set up is to get one of those nice little kits that they offer, a sampler kit of different ones so you can make some paintings. You can always add some more tubes later, but they give you some basic tubes of paint in there. They give you the liquid white, maybe the clear, and a palette knife and a 1-inch brush so you can start from there and then build your kit up there. So it's a pretty economical way. Then you can just buy a canvas and start going. And I hope to see you soon. And look for another one each week. Thank you for joining us. Have a happy day. Take care. Bye bye.